Have you ever met someone who walks into a room and somehow, without saying a word, everyone feels their presence? They don't speak loudly. They don't try to impress. Yet somehow, the atmosphere shifts. People notice. They listen. They lean in. That is silent attractiveness. It's not about being the loudest voice or the flashiest dresser. It's about a quiet confidence that draws people in, a calm strength that doesn't need to prove itself. It's not arrogance, it's assurance, not performance presence. This kind of magnetism doesn't come from chasing attention. It comes from inner alignment, from knowing who you are, respecting yourself deeply, and carrying that energy wherever you go. Think about it. In a world obsessed with noise, the loudest opinions, the biggest personalities, the endless chase for validation, there's something revolutionary about being calm, composed, and sure of yourself. That's what makes silently attractive. People stand out. They're rare. They move differently. They listen more than they talk. They don't compete for attention. They command it naturally. And here's the best part. You don't have to change who you are to become that kind of person. You don't have to fake confidence or pretend to be mysterious. You simply need to return to your best self, the version of you that's grounded, authentic, and unshaken. In this journey, we'll explore 11 timeless habits, habits inspired by Stoic wisdom and sharpened by real, modern life, that will help you build quiet strength, emotional intelligence, and a kind of grace that people can feel even when you say nothing at all. Because the truth is, you don't attract people by chasing them, you attract them by being at peace with yourself. So, let's begin. Habit 1. Embrace your authentic independence. There's something magnetic about people who don't need validation. They walk through life with quiet purpose, guided not by trends or opinions, but by their own inner compass. Authentic independence isn't about cutting others off or proving you don't care. It's about self-trust, knowing you can stand alone when needed, without losing warmth or connection. You can feel it when someone has that independence. It's in the way they move, the way they listen, the way they say no without guilt. They respect themselves, and that self-respect radiates. When you're truly independent, you're not chasing approval. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else. You're simply focused on your own growth, on building a life that reflects who you really are. And that kind of focus is rare. It's refreshing. It's powerful. Most people live in reaction, reacting to others' opinions, social pressure, the endless scroll of what they think they should be. But the quietly independent person? They've learned to act, not react. They choose. They decide. They move from inner conviction, not external noise. It's not about arrogance. I don't need anyone. It's about balance. I am whole. And that's why I can connect from a place of strength. People feel that. They respect it. Because independence sends an unspoken message. I belong to myself. To cultivate this, start small. Spend time alone not to escape the world, but to reconnect with your own rhythm. Ask yourself, am I living by my values or by someone else's expectations? The moment your choices start aligning with your principles instead of pressure, that's the birth of independence. When you stop chasing approval, something shifts. You stop performing, you start being. And that's when people start noticing you not for what you're doing, but for who you are. Because confidence doesn't need to shout. It simply is. Habit 2. Master the art of silent elegance. Sometimes the most powerful statement is made in silence. Silent elegance isn't about luxury or perfection. It's about grace under control, the ability to move through any situation with calm, poise, and quiet awareness. Think of the people who make an impression the moment they walk in, not through noise, but through presence. They carry themselves with calm dignity. They listen. They observe. They act with thought, not impulse. This is silent elegance. It's the subtle blend of self-respect, composure, and mindfulness. It's how you hold yourself, how you treat others, how you remain steady when others lose control. Stoic philosophers understood this. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." That calm mind, that composure, is elegance. It begins with body language. Stand tall, but relaxed. Meet eyes, but don't stare. Move deliberately, not frantically. Then it extends to how you treat people. Speak with clarity. Listen fully. Show respect without expectation, and above all, master restraint. In a world of overreaction, composure is rebellion. You don't have to argue to prove your point. You don't have to match chaos with chaos. Your calmness becomes your power. Silent elegance leaves a mark not because it demands attention, but because it deserves it. It's the quiet confidence that lingers in people's minds long after you've left the room. So slow down, speak less, mean more. Carry yourself with the calm grace of someone who's already enough. Because true strength never shouts. It simply stands still and the world listens. Habit 3. The subtle scent of sophistication. Sometimes it's not the loud gestures or the grand entrances that people remember. It's the small, nearly invisible details, the quiet refinements that linger in the air after you've gone, the way you take care of yourself, the faint trace of a clean, thoughtful scent, the aura of someone who pays attention to the little things. That's sophistication. It doesn't scream for attention. It whispers, "I value myself." Think about it. How often do you remember someone not for what they said, but for how they carried themselves, for their calm energy, their effortless neatness, their balance? A subtle scent, well chosen and lightly worn, communicates care, self-awareness, and intention. It's not vanity, it's presence. True sophistication is never about showing off. It's about the quiet discipline behind the scenes, clean habits, mindful grooming, and the decision to present your best self to the world because it feels right, not because it earns approval. Seneca once said, "Let your outward appearance be simple and dignified, reflecting the serenity of your mind." That's what silent sophistication is. Alignment between your inner calm and your outer expression. To embody this habit, start small. Choose a scent that feels like you, subtle, clean, intentional. Something that complements your natural energy rather than covers it. Keep your clothes neat, your posture relaxed but confident. When people sense you've put quiet effort into how you present yourself, they feel your respect both for yourself and for them. You don't have to announce that you're confident. You don't have to advertise that you care. It shows in the calm clarity of your presence, because true sophistication is never forced. It's felt. Habit 4. Be fully present. In a distracted world, there is nothing more magnetic than someone who is fully here, not scrolling, not waiting for their turn to speak, but actually listening. Presence is power. It's one of the rarest and most beautiful forms of respect you can give another person. We've all felt the sting of being half-heard talking to someone whose eyes drift to their phone, whose attention is split. It feels cold, dismissive, unimportant. But when someone gives you their full attention, steady eyes, quiet focus, genuine interest, you feel it. It anchors you. It makes you open up. It builds instant trust. That's the silent power of presence. It doesn't demand attention, it gives it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." The Stoics believed that strength and peace are born in this exact moment, not in the past or future, but in the now. To be present is to be in control of your mind. It means you're not lost in what's next or what went wrong. You're grounded in this breath, this conversation, this experience. And people feel that grounding. It calms them. It invites them in. To cultivate presence, start by putting your full attention into simple things. When someone speaks, listen to understand, not to reply. When you walk, notice your steps. When you eat, actually taste your food. These small acts of mindfulness sharpen your awareness until being fully present becomes your natural state. Presence makes you rare in a world that's always elsewhere. And rarity, combined with calmness, creates magnetism. So next time you find yourself in a conversation, slow down, look, listen, engage. You don't need perfect words, just presence. People won't remember your sentences. They'll remember how you made them feel, seen, heard, valued. That's what makes you unforgettable. Habit 5. A touch of mystery. In an age where everyone shares everything, there's something quietly irresistible about someone who doesn't. A touch of mystery isn't about secrets or games. It's about restraint. About holding something back just enough to spark curiosity. When you reveal everything at once, there's nothing left for others to discover. But when you share intentionally only what feels true and necessary, you invite intrigue. You leave space for people to wonder, to imagine. This is not manipulation. It's grace. It's self-respect. Mystery says, I know myself well enough not to overshare. I choose what I reveal. It communicates confidence without arrogance, the energy of someone who doesn't need constant validation to feel seen. Epictetus gave timeless advice. Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence. That's mystery in action. It's not about withholding. It's about understanding the value of silence, about knowing that sometimes what's unsaid carries more weight than what's spoken. Let your life, not your explanations, do the talking. If you make a bold move, you don't need to justify it. If you're working towards something meaningful, you don't need to announce it. Live your truth quietly and let the results reveal themselves. Mystery is also about depth. Be the kind of person who keeps growing, learning, creating. Let others discover new sides of you over time. Your humor, your kindness, your insight. That unfolding is what keeps you captivating. Ask yourself, am I sharing to connect, or am I sharing to be validated? When you begin sharing from purpose instead of impulse, you naturally become more intriguing, more composed, more grounded, more magnetic. Because mystery doesn't build walls, it builds interest. In a world of noise, be the calm that people want to understand. Be the person who doesn't need to say everything to be known. Your silence will speak more than your stories ever could. When you embody these habits, refinement in the details, full presence, and quiet mystery, you stop chasing attention. You start drawing it. People won't know exactly what it is about you. They'll just feel it, the calm, the control, the depth. And that's the essence of silent attractiveness. Power without words, confidence without noise, presence without performance. Habit 6. Cultivate cultural wisdom. There's something quietly captivating about a person who understands the world beyond themselves, who carries a depth of knowledge and empathy that feels both rare and grounding. This is cultural wisdom. It's not about showing off how much you know. It's about your openness, your curiosity, your willingness to see life through many lenses. When you meet someone like that, you can feel it. Their presence is steady, their words are thoughtful. They don't rush to judge, they seek to understand. Cultural wisdom means seeing beauty in difference. It's being genuinely curious about how people think, live, and love. It's the quiet grace of someone who listens before they speak, who values learning more than being right. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look beneath the surface. Let not the outward appearances mislead you. To look beneath the surface, that's wisdom. It's the mark of someone who sees people not as stereotypes, but as stories. When you cultivate this kind of wisdom, your conversations become deeper, your interactions more meaningful. You begin to connect not because of similarity, but because of understanding, and that's magnetic. To practice cultural wisdom, read widely, listen deeply. Ask questions that invite stories, not arguments. And when you disagree, do it with curiosity, not contempt. The more you learn, the less you need to prove. The more you understand others, the more comfortable you become with yourself. Because true sophistication isn't about intellect, it's about empathy. And empathy, quietly held, is one of the most attractive traits a human being can possess. Habit 7. The heartbeat of compassion. In a world that moves fast and often feels cold, compassion is the quiet warmth that makes people stop and take notice. You don't need to be the funniest, the boldest, or the most impressive person in the room to be magnetic. You just need to make others feel safe in your presence. Compassion isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It lives in the small things, a patient ear, a kind word, a gentle tone when others are harsh. True compassion isn't weakness. It's strength under control. It's the ability to remain soft without being fragile, kind without being naive. The Stoics, often misunderstood as emotionless, actually taught compassion as a pillar of strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." In other words, hold yourself to high standards, but treat others with grace. When you meet someone who lives this way, you can feel it. They don't rush to correct you. They don't compete, they understand. Their calm becomes your calm. To cultivate compassion, start by practicing patience. When someone frustrates you, pause. Ask yourself, what pain might they be carrying that I cannot see? Most of the time, cruelty is confusion in disguise. When you understand that, you stop taking things personally and you start responding with quiet strength. Compassion doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means choosing empathy without surrendering your boundaries. It means caring but calmly. And that balance is what makes compassion so irresistibly powerful. When you lead with kindness, you don't have to demand respect. It finds you. Habit 8. Laughter and joy. Few things are more magnetic than someone who can smile with ease, who radiates genuine joy even in the middle of chaos. Laughter is a universal language. It dissolves tension, builds connection, and reminds people that, despite it all, life is still worth enjoying. People who laugh easily, not mockingly, but sincerely bring light into the room. Their energy softens edges. Their joy is not loud, but alive, and that's what draws others in. Stoicism isn't about suppressing joy. It's about understanding that happiness doesn't depend on circumstances. It comes from your response to them. Epictetus said it best, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That includes how you react to life's absurdities, the moments that don't go as planned, the imperfections that make us human. When you can laugh at yourself, truly laugh, you show emotional freedom, you show resilience, and that kind of humor is quietly magnetic. Joy doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means seeing the good even when things are imperfect. Start small. Notice the moments that make you smile. A friend's joke, a good cup of coffee, the sunlight on your face. When you focus on small joys, you become lighter, and people feel that lightness. You stop trying to be impressive. You start being alive. Laughter doesn't erase seriousness, it balances it. It shows that you can face life's storms with grace and still find a reason to smile. Because at the end of the day, people may forget your words, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Be the person whose presence feels like relief. Be the calm that laughs. Be the joy that listens. That's how you become unforgettable, not through noise, but through lightness. When you combine wisdom, compassion, and joy, something beautiful happens. You stop trying to attract and start connecting. You no longer need to perform or prove. You simply exist in harmony with yourself and the world around you. And that quiet harmony, that grounded, radiant energy, becomes your most powerful form of charisma. Because people are not drawn to perfection. They're drawn to peace. They're drawn to warmth. They're drawn to life. Habit 9. The art of self-care. There's a quiet power in someone who genuinely takes care of themselves, not from vanity or ego, but from respect. Self-care isn't indulgence. It's discipline, the daily choice to treat your mind and body as something worth maintaining. It says, without words, I value myself enough to show up well. This kind of self-respect radiates. People sense it before you even speak. It's in the way you move, calm, deliberate, rested. It's in the steadiness of your eyes, the ease in your posture. When you care for yourself, you build a reservoir of peace that others can feel. The Stoics saw self-care as a moral duty. Seneca wrote, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." That balance between strength and serenity is the foundation of silent attractiveness. Self-care isn't about spa days or luxury. It's about doing what nurtures your clarity. Rest when you're tired. Eat foods that energize, not numb. Move your body because it was made to. Move. Take quiet moments to breathe, reflect, and reset. You don't have to broadcast that you're improving. Just do it. The evidence will show in your calmness, your vitality, your focus. People are drawn to those who have built peace within themselves, because in their presence you feel safe, you feel possibility. Self-care also means boundaries, knowing when to say no, when to stop scrolling, when to walk away from what drains you. That restraint isn't selfish, it's essential. You cannot give from an empty mind or a burnt-out soul. Take care of yourself quietly, consistently, unapologetically. You'll notice how the world responds differently. Not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. Habit 10. Emotional intelligence and social awareness. If self-care keeps you balanced within, emotional intelligence connects you gracefully without. Emotional intelligence is the quiet ability to read the room, to sense the emotional currents underneath words, and to respond with understanding rather than reaction. It's what makes people feel safe around you. Imagine walking into a tense meeting, a difficult conversation, or an awkward silence. The emotionally intelligent person doesn't panic or over-explain. They observe, breathe, and respond with calm precision. They don't mirror chaos, they stabilize it. That's why emotional intelligence feels magnetic. It's the energy of someone who is aware without being invasive, confident without being dominant. Epictetus offered a piece of wisdom that captures this perfectly. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listen. Observe. Respond only when your words can add value or calm. That's emotional mastery. When you develop this awareness, your presence changes rooms. People will naturally look to you not for entertainment, but for equilibrium. Emotional intelligence also means knowing yourself, your triggers, your patterns, your moods. When you recognize your emotions before they control you, you gain power. You stop being reactive. You start being intentional. Ask yourself, how do I make others feel when I enter a room? Do I add peace or tension? Awareness of that single question can transform your social life, your relationships, and your influence. Because people rarely remember what you said, they remember how they felt when they were with you. So, become the person whose steadiness leaves others breathing easier. In a world that glorifies reaction, your composure becomes revolutionary. Habit 11. Consistency and reliability. Few qualities speak louder than quiet consistency. In a time where people change plans by the hour and break promises without thought, reliability is rare, and rare things are always valuable. Being consistent doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up, keeping your word, doing what you said you'd do, especially when it's inconvenient. When you become that person, people don't just respect you, they trust you. Trust is the foundation of attraction. It's the invisible thread that holds relationships, work, and reputation together. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Consistency is exactly that, being, not talking, living your values instead of performing them. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your own integrity. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you prove your steadiness. Every time you keep your promises, even the small ones, you build a quiet authority that doesn't need recognition. And over time, that reliability becomes your magnetism. People trust the ones who are stable when the world isn't. They seek comfort in those whose actions match their words. To cultivate consistency, start small. Keep the commitments you make to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you start. Take care of what's yours. The confidence you build from inner reliability will radiate outward. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. Reliability isn't glamorous. It's not loud, but it's unforgettable. The person who shows up with quiet discipline doesn't need to chase respect. It follows them. When you blend self-care, emotional intelligence, and reliability, you become unshakable. You stop depending on external validation to define your worth. Your peace becomes your power. And people, without even realizing why, are drawn to you. Because what they feel isn't performance, it's presence. True attractiveness isn't something you chase, it's something you cultivate. It doesn't come from noise, or beauty, or status. It grows from stillness, from a deep, steady relationship with yourself. Silent. Attractiveness is not a mask you wear, it's a state of being. It's the quiet knowing that you are enough, not because others say so, but because you live like it's true. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered 11 habits that shape that kind of presence. Not tricks, not shortcuts, but timeless principles that whisper strength in every situation. Independence, elegance, refinement, presence, mystery, wisdom, compassion, joy, self-care, emotional intelligence, consistency. Each habit, on its own, builds a layer of calm authority. But together, they form something rarer, a way of moving through the world that feels light, unbothered, and deeply magnetic. You don't need to perform to be noticed. You don't need to chase to be valued. You just need to live with purpose and quiet alignment. That's the paradox of true presence. The less you try to impress, the more impressive you become. The more you detach from others' opinions, the more respect you inspire. The more peace you build inside, the more power you project outside. Think about the people you truly admire. They're not the loudest, the flashiest, or the ones with constant attention. They're the ones who seem centered, whose calm feels contagious, whose silence carries weight. They have something you can't fake: integrity. They've done the quiet work. They've built their confidence from action, not applause. And you can too. You already hold everything you need. Your potential for strength, calm, grace, it's there, waiting beneath distraction and doubt. Every act of patience, every small discipline, every boundary kept, brings you closer to it. Because the truth is, you don't need to find yourself. You just need to remove what's not you: the noise, the insecurity, the comparison, the approval-seeking. When you let those go, what's left is peace, a peace that looks like confidence from the outside, but feels like freedom from the inside. The Stoics understood this long before the modern world started shouting for attention. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's the heart of silent attractiveness. Not to dominate, but to endure. Not to seek control, but to remain composed. When you stop reacting to every wave, every opinion, every judgment, every noise, you find a stillness that no one can shake. That's what draws people in. That's what makes them trust you, respect you, remember you, because calm is rare, and rare things are valuable. So, as you move forward, reflect on this. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be loud. You just need to live intentionally. When you walk into a room, carry yourself with the ease of someone who knows their worth. Speak less, mean more. Observe before you react. Smile not to please, but because your spirit is light. Let your energy speak before your words do. The silently attractive person doesn't convince, they embody. Their life is the message. Their calmness is the language. Their presence is the proof. And once you taste that peace, you'll never want to trade it for noise again. To live this way is to be both strong and soft, confident yet kind, a paradox that feels human and whole. People may not always understand you, but they will always feel something around you. They'll feel trust. They'll feel warmth. They'll feel that rare calm that says, here is someone who doesn't need to be seen to be certain. And that's the quiet revolution. Because when you stop trying to impress the world starts to notice. When you stop chasing validation, validation finds you. When you stop talking about who you are, you finally have the space to be who you are. You become the person who doesn't just enter rooms, you shift them. So walk quietly, but with purpose. Carry grace like armor and compassion like light. Listen more, react less. Care deeply, but wisely. And remember, silence is not emptiness, it's focus, it's strength under control. It's where your true power lives. You don't need to shout to make an impact. You don't need to force respect. When your inner world is calm, your outer world begins to follow. Because real confidence, the kind that lasts, doesn't demand attention, it creates it. In the end, silent attractiveness is not about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself with acceptance, clarity, and purpose. It's the art of living in alignment with your best self, quietly but powerfully. It's about being the kind of person who brings peace into a room, not noise, and that's the most magnetic thing of all. So, take a breath, stand tall, speak softly, and let your calmness do the talking. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all.